Good afternoon, everyone. Today's lesson is tutorial 8. Please open the question file and the Excel file. We have one question in this tutorial, and I will first go through the question background and then we can go to the solver. Okay, so let's start now. So a bank needs to install ATM to serve customers living in 6 regions, A, B, C, D, E, F. And the bank would like to install the minimum numbers of ATM machines possible. However, the bank needs to ensure that there are at least one ATM within a 10 minutes walk from each region. So this one is important, at least one ATM. The times required to walk between 2 regions are as follows. If you see required or the table below, so you can identify that that is the constraint. Okay. So for this table, that is important to you for you to understand the table. Okay. So here you have the walking time between regions, A, B, C, D, E, F, and for the horizontal and vertical, that is A, B, C, D, E, F. So as you can see, there is 0 for here, right? And 0 meaning that you are in region A or like region B or C or D. So this one, that is the starting point. Okay. So if you are in region A and then you walk to region B, you have 5 minutes walk. You need 5 minutes. And if you are in region A and then you walk to region E, you have you need 20 minutes. Okay. So the 0 meaning that is the starting point that you are in region A. So you have to match the horizontal one and the vertical one, that is also same region, that is region A. As you can see for this one, that is the starting point of region B. So that is matching to, that is also B. Okay, so that is the starting point instead of this one or this one. Okay, so for region B, if you're in region B, walk to region E, you need 15 minutes. Okay, so you have to like understand this table clearly. So for example, if there is an ATM in region A, then customers who live in region B can walk to the ATM in region A within 5 minutes. So if the ATM that is located here for region A, so if the customer lives in region B, so the starting point is here. If it is in region B, so you can walk to the ATM in 5 minutes, within 5 minutes. Okay. So as you may know that this one is also 5 minutes and this one is also 5 minutes because the 2 region walking time is the same. There's also 5 minutes. Okay, so this one, that is the table. The bank wants to minimize the numbers of ATM to install. So here you have the objective. Use binary integer programming to model the problem you faced by the bank. So the question is asking us to use the BIP, yes, binary integer programming. Binary integer meaning that the decision variables must be the integer and also must be 0 or 1. Right, so that is either 1 or 0. To model the problem faced by the bank. And part A, that is we have to write a programming model to help the bank to decide where to install its ATM. So that is the question background, and let's go to the solution of part A. Let's focus on part A first. Reintroduce the binary variables A, B, C, D, E, F. So this one, that is the decision variables, right? We have 6 decision variables in total. To indicate whether value of 1 or not value of 0, the bank places an ATM machine in region A, B, C, D, E, F respectively. So value of 1 meaning yes. That means the bank will place ATM in that region. Okay, so 1 or 0 meaning yes or no. So value of 0 meaning no, right? So the bank won't place it ATM in that region. Okay, so 1 means yes and 0 means no. Okay, so you have the part A solutions, and here you have the first one, that is the objective equation. Right, because minimize mean minimizing the numbers of ATM to be placed. Okay, so for this objective we have to sum A, B, C, D, F the numbers of the ATM up. That is okay. So just the summation of these 6 regions. Okay, so this one, that is the objective equation, and then we have 7 constraints in total. Okay. So as you can see, for the first 6 constraints, that is from the table above here, the working time table. Okay, so the seventh constraint, that is the binary integer constraint. So you have to show this constraint too. When the question is asking you to form a binary integer constraint, you have to write it down in order to show that you know these decision variables have to be binary. Okay, so that's binary. So A, B, C, D, E, F, that is 0 or 1. Okay, so the 7th one, you have to include it. So please be careful. Okay, so that is the 7th one, and then we can go to the first 6 constraints. For the above 6 constraints, that is from the working timetable, right? So for the first one, let's do this one by one. For the first one, that is the region A. So each constraint representing each region. So that is the first one, that is meaning region A, and then that is meaning region B, etc., etc. Okay. So smaller or bigger or equal to, bigger or equal to. The signs that is bigger or equal to, because equal to, that is meaning at least, right? So bigger or equal to. Because as you can know that there is at least one ATM that is bank required. That's the bank requirement. So we can exist more than one ATM placed in this region, but we have to be at least one ATM. Okay, so that is bigger or equal to for these 6 constraints in total. And then for region A, so let's go to the first constraint first. For the first constraint, as you can see, we look at region A first. As you can see here, that is the 15, 20, and 15, right? So that is meaning that if you are from region A and then walk to region D, you have 15 minutes, and then that is exceeds the 10 minutes walk. Alright, so here you have to omit it, so you can have a gray in color and delete it. So this 3 area that is too far away, so we have to place ATM that is within A, B, C. Okay, so the region A, B, C must have one ATM. So the first constraint meaning that A plus B plus C bigger or equal to 1. So that is from the region A. Okay, all understand for this one? Do you have any questions? Because these 3 regions that is too far away, that is exceeds 10 minutes. Exceeds 10 minutes. So we have to omit it. Okay. Okay, so this one that is region A, so that is ABC, matching with this one, right? ABC bigger or equal to 1. And then we can go to region B and so on. So region B, these 2 are not acceptable, right? Exceeds 10 minutes, right? So the only available region that is A, B, C, D, these 4, right? So you may notice that if that is region A constraint, you have to include the variables A here too. So because that is also within 10 minutes. If you're in region A and then you go to region A, that is also within 10 minutes, right? So you have to include the corresponding region in this. Okay, so that is region A, and then we can go to region C. So simply we can delete the region that is exceeds 10 minutes. Okay, and then for region C, that is A, B, C, and F. Omit D and E, the region D and E. For region D, you can omit the corresponding region and then to form the constraint by yourself, the constraint equation by yourself, okay? So region Region D. Region D, that is here. Cross out the region A, region C, and then region F. So we have B and D and E remaining. So for region E constraint, these three are the region that exists the walking time. So that is too far away, right? So that is D, E, F, D, E, because the F that is also have to be omitted. Okay, so for region F, that is the same. We have to omit region A and B, and then D and E. So for the last one, only F and C that is remaining. That is matching the F, right? C plus F bigger or equal to 1, that is meaning region F. So you may notice that if that is region F constraint, it must have F here. Okay, if that is region E constraint, it must have F and E here. So be careful when you are forming the constraint equation. So that is part A. Do you have any questions? Can you all follow for this one? Remember that for the seventh constraint, that is equal to the non-negative constraint, right? But for the binary integer, you have to include this to show that you know that is binary constraint questions. Okay, so that is part A, and then we can go to part B, if you can all follow. Part B, that is solve it on the spreadsheet for this problem. So let's move on to the solver here. Please open the Excel file. Tutorial 8, okay? So we have the three components also. For the decision variables, that is A, B, C, D, E, F, and then the total one, that is also the objective for these questions. Right. And then for the constraint, that is the sixth constraint in the questions, the solutions. We have the left hand side and right hand side, and the middle one, that is science. Okay? For the science, we can we have to input some basic information to the Excel. Okay, so as you may know, that's the size that is bigger or equal to, right? Because there is at least one ATM machine, so bigger or equal to. Okay, so right hand side, that is meaning the least numbers of placing ATM. Okay, so that is the right hand side, and remember that that is at least one ATM machine, as here, right hand side. So we enter 1, that is okay. You can copy the one here and then place it here, or drag downward to use the function. Okay? So that is the size and right hand side. And then we can input how many units of the variables in the A, B, C, D, E, F, okay? In the constraint. We can have a look of the constraint here. So for the first one, A, B, and C, right? For the first constraint region A, so we enter A, B, and C for 1 because there is only 1 unit of the variables, but not like 3 or 8 or 9, right? So only 1 that is okay, so we enter 1 here. So that is the first constraint, and we can move on to the second one. Region B. Region B, we have to omit E and F, right? So A, B, and C, and D. So these 4 are the variables in region B constraint, and then so on you can like filling in the numbers by yourself. Like region C, that is A, B, C, and F. Okay. Region D, B, B, D, and E. Region E, that is D and E. So for the last one, that is C and F. Okay. So you can double check with your constraints together to see if there are any missing or wrong. So this is the simple inputs of the solver of the Excel, and then we can go to the equation, and then we can go to the solver. We have to input the equation first, right, in the objective in the left hand side. Can you all follow for this one? Can you all input the correct numbers of the variables here? So let's go to the equation parts. For the objective, summation. Remember that for the objective equation, we have to sum all the decision variable ops, right? So that is B2 to G2, the summation of B2 to G2, okay? So that is the equation of objective, the H2. Okay, so let's go to the left hand side. Left hand side, we have to sum products. Okay, sum products of the decision variables and the constraint, the how many numbers of the variables here. And then we have to add the dollar sign here in order to like it to be constants. We have to let the decision variables to remain unchanged. So we have to add the dollar sign. Okay. So this one, there is some products, the summation of how many numbers of the ATM placed and the numbers that's within this region. Okay. So later on, we can use the fill handle to drag downward. Okay. So you can easily copy the formulas. So for this one, there is decision variables times the B6 to G6. Okay, so for the last one, that is B2 to G2 and then B10 to G10. So let's show the formulas. Objective, that is summation of B2 to G2. Okay, so for this one, left hand side, sum products. The first one, that is the decision variables, B2 to G2, and then the constraint of the sixth region. Can you all follow for this one? So let's go to the solver together. Open the solver, and then we have the set objective, right? Set objective, that is H2. Remember for this one, we have to minimize the numbers of ATM placed. So no longer that is maximum, we have to choose minimum. Okay, so for changing variable cells, same as before, that is the decision variables. B2 to G2. Okay, so these three are the setting. Minimum objective, that is H2, and changing variables B2 to G2. Okay, so let's go to the constraint. As you may know that all these constraints, these are in the same signs, right? Smaller or equal to smaller, bigger or equal to bigger or equal to. So we can group it together. So we do not have to input it one by one. Left hand side meaning the cells reference here, H5 to H10. Constraint, that is right hand side, J5 to J10, bigger or equal to, right? So we can easily group it together. And we click OK. That is the first constraint, because we have grouped all the constraints together, the first 6. Okay? So, but remember that we have the 7th constraint, the binary integer constraint, right? So, for this one, we have to show, we have to tell the solver that the decision variables should be binary integer. So, remember that for last lesson we have the integer, right? int. But for this lesson, that is bin. So that is binary. Put it downward, you have the drop down gallery and the 5th one below the integer one. Okay, the 5th one. And then cells reference, decision variables, B2 to G2. Okay, you have to add it to show that is the binary integer. If you encounter any binary integer questions, remember to add it. Okay, so that is the 2 constraints. And then for this one, make unconstrained variables non-negative. I know that for the lecture, that is okay to untick it, but for this question, because you can choose both, that you can take it or not take it, it will not affect to the answer. Okay, so we can like untick it or not. Because for the binary, there is only 2 choice. There's only 2 options, right? 0 and 1, so that it will not have the like decimal place or not on the negative. Okay, so these 2 are the constraints, and then untick this box. And remember that for the lecture, we have to choose the options, right? And then choose the GRG. Yes, the all method options, all method. And then here you have the integer optimality. Okay. We can set this one to 0. Remember to add this one. I think in the lecture is also mentioned for this one. Integer optimality 0. So to if that is closer to 0, and then the answer would be more optimal. Okay. So I think 0 or 0.05 that is okay, but for the numbers that is bigger than 10 or what else, that is too big. So that is better to set it to 0. Okay, so we click 0, and then that is the all setting. Be careful for that. The one we have to be reminded that we have to set it to 0. Choose options, and then the first one, all method, and then here you have the integer optimality, and then set it to 0. Okay, so let's solve the questions. You have the answer here, right? So we click OK, and then we have the 2 in total. That is the final final solutions. Right. And then here, that is the left hand side is also pops up. This meaning that within this region, you can find one or how many numbers of the ATM. Okay. In total, there is 2, and then here you have the numbers. That is the solution 2. So let's go back to the solution here. That is part B. You can have the notes of the. Okay, so for this one, these are the setting. Setting of solver. Okay. And then for this one, the important tool, these are the solutions. Right. Minimum numbers of ATM to be installed, that is 2. The 2 that is meaning H2 are the cells, right? For here, for these cells. So you can answer the question in this way. And then if the question is asking that where is it that the 2 ATM will be located, you have to answer this one. That is located in region C and D. So how to know that is region C and D? We can go back to the questions here, the solutions. Okay, as you can find that 0 meaning that the bank won't place the ATM here, right? So A, B, E, F, that is the bank won't place the ATM, and for C and D, the bank will place the ATM there. Okay. So that is the interpretation of these solutions from the solver. So how to interpret the answer for here? Okay, so interpret H5 to H5 to H10. Okay, so for the first solution, left hand side 1. Okay, so that is referring to region A. If you are in region A, you can walk to region C to reach ATM. Okay, so because we only have 2 ATM, that is region C and D, and because as you can remember that for the region D, that is too far away, right? Exceeds the 10 minutes time. Okay, so you only have 1 ATM could be reached. So because if you are in region A, you can only reach region C, because region D that is too far away, right? So you can interpret that why there is only 1. So for region B, as you may know that is 2, right? And that is okay because we can have at least one ATM, and we can access the ATM machine. It exists one ATM machine, right? So if you are in region B, you can both walk to region C or D. Okay, so if you start walking in region B from region B, okay, so you can both walk to region C or region D because that is also within 10 minutes. Alright, so that is 2 ATM could be reached, and so on, right? So for the C or D or E, you can like interpret it in this way. So be careful that because for B, region B, you can reach both C and D. So you can have 2 ATM available that can be reached. Okay? So can you all follow for this one, for this concept? If you cannot follow, that is the end of the tutorial 8. So if you have any question, you can come to